Hi guys, this is Jamie from the Metal Axe podcast. Today I have the amazing opportunity of interviewing Leigh Matty from Romeo's Daughter, a great 80s band that I know very well, and I really appreciate Leigh taking up her time to be with you today.
It's a pleasure, Jamie. It's lovely to be here.
No worries, all good, all good. I've actually got a copy of the first album here.
Oh, the original. Well, actually, that's a re-copy of the original.
It is, yeah.
That's the Rock Candy edition, isn't it?
That's it. That's the remastered version right here. So
yeah,
just a few extra live tracks. But if you haven't heard it already, guys, this album is amazing. I would highly recommend anyone that's into 80s kind of English rock. This is for you, definitely. So just to start off with, Leigh, so the first question I have for you is, when and where was Romeo's Daughter formed?
Well, we're all in London in, I think it was 1985 or end of 1984, beginning of 1985. I saw an advert in Melody Maker. You know, they used to have these. Melody Maker was like the most fantastic magazine for musicians, and it was just filled with like just really interesting things, and obviously people looking for band members. And I happened to come across this advert and in it, and I called and I spoke to Craig, who is the guitarist and one of the original member with me in Romeo's Daughter. Obviously we weren't called Romeo's Daughter then, we didn't have any name for a couple of years actually, and we just hit it off, and I went to this audition at a really famous rehearsal room called No Miss Studios. It was in Shepherd's Bush. Actually, it might still be there, to be honest, I'm not sure. And I rocked up to this audition, and there were like 75 other like fully fledged rock singers waiting in this huge waiting room. And I was like, oh my God. And funny enough, I was the first person in. And then they went through everybody, and then they called me and they said that I could have the job if I agreed to grow my hair, because I had like really short punk hair. I was going through my punk phase then. So 1984, but it took us kind of quite a few years to really find what our sound was. We found Mutt, we found a manager, and we found our name. So we were only fully fledged and ready. The album came out in end of 1988, but we met at the end of 1984. Long time.
Yeah, it's coming up to like 50 years now that the 80s is around, right?
Hold on. You're making me older than I actually am.
Yeah.
We've just passed 30 something years.
As a band,
I'm not that old.
Yeah, because you guys have been quite constant, haven't you? Yeah,
we had our 30th anniversary in 2019. Yeah, and then so we're like 35 years old.
Brilliant. That's really cool. And the music lives on, as they say.
It certainly does.
So with the first album that came out, with Craig, the other guitar player, are there any other members in the band that are still with you guys, or have they?
Andy, the drummer. Well, actually, no. To be honest, Andy joined after we had recorded the first album. There were just three of us, really, three band members. There was the keyboard player, there was myself, Craig, and then the bass player and drummer kind of came after we recorded everything with Mutt. Andy, the drummer, Andy Wells, I think he joined us in, I don't know, maybe just before the first tour. So that must have been in 1988. And Ed, the bass player, I think joined at the same time. But Ed is not with us anymore. We have a new bass player called Steve Drennan. But so the three of us, we're the old timers, really. Brilliant. I'm the only one that's still got hair.
From what I can see of the pictures in the booklet, Craig, I think, had a bit longer hair, didn't he? And the
Yeah,
rest of
Craig had really long hair,
yeah,
and as did Andy, but now they don't. They neither of them have hair anymore. The hair has been and
yeah.
gone.
Stayed in the
Yeah,
80s.
yeah.
So before Romeo's Daughter, did you have like any musical projects beforehand before you started Romeo's Daughter at all? Or
I did, but none of them were rock projects, to be honest. I mean, singing was something that I always kind of liked to do at school, and I joined some school bands, and then I did like an R&B kind of thing, and then for me it was really it was about finding a home for that with people that I really liked. And actually when Craig and I met, it was just we just became firm friends straight away. And we he and my voice blended very well together. So a lot of the stuff that he wrote really was suited my voice. We have a very similar range, weirdly, even though he's a man and I'm a woman. And duh. um, stating the bleeding obvious there. And so Romeo's Daughter have been really my first and my only love in the music world. The only kind of project that I really wanted to stay with, and the only project that I wanted to give my time to. So in a way, yeah, little bits and bobs, but not really anything like being in this band.
no, that
And I've
sounds
stuck to that, actually. I've stuck
that's
to that through all the years. I've done little bits and bobs with different people, but I have never had any desire to join any other band or do anything else really other than Romeo's.
that's fantastic. It's brilliant to be in a band for that long and have that longevity of staying in a
Yeah,
band is great. I mean, I'm a guitar player myself, so
right.
I play in bands also, and if you have that longevity, I mean, that's a special thing. Like,
Yeah,
it's really, really cool. This is kind of a bit of an extra question.
yeah.
So on the album, you've obviously got a few singles. We have Heaven in the Backseat, which was on, I believe, Nightmare on Elm Street, the fifth
That's
film.
correct. Yeah.
I just wanted to know how did you come about being on the soundtrack?
Because we were published at the time by a company called Zomba, and they were a really, really big company. Jive was the record label, and Zomba was the publishing arm of Jive Records. And in the 80s, they were like a really huge, successful, both of them were very, very successful companies. And so we were on Zomba, and they did soundtracks for films, and they actually, I mean, they did really well. We'd had Heaven covered, we had Wild Child covered by Heart, we had a song called Stay With Me Tonight that was covered by a band called Steps, which was a very successful pop band in the 80s, 90s in the UK. We had Chrissy, not Chrissy Hind, to be honest, we had Eddie Money do Heaven in the Backseat as well. We had like multiple covers of our first album, which was down to our publishing company.
Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant. And there was a music video obviously made for it as well. Can I ask where that video was shot?
Heaven was actually filmed in London, in a studio in London. And that was really good fun because obviously we had never recorded anything like it before. And it was like, also, it cost an absolute fortune. I mean, you don't know when you're young that all this money that's being spent on videos is actually stuff you have to pay back, money you have to pay back. So Heaven was filmed in London. Freddie actually didn't come to the set, although he looks like he is in the set. They just kind of filmed him in America, like, well, you know, then they kind of, you know, airdropped him into the video. So that was that. Yeah, that was a big one. Heaven in the Backseat was a big one. And then Cry Myself to Sleep was filmed in the Mojave Desert in California. which was like an even bigger deal for us because, we were flown over to the States, and, it wasn't a particularly enjoyable experience for us. It was kind of in the desert, and we were up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got frostbite in my feet because they made me run down sand dunes, and then the sun came up, and then we got sun exposure. So it was a bit one of those ones where like, but that also cost an absolute fortune. So yeah, we had some interesting experiences with our videos. But those were the two big ones from the first album. Oh, and Don't Break My Heart, actually, we did Don't Break My Heart as well, but that was kind of a little bit more low-key. That wasn't such a big deal. So yeah, so we had three videos from our first album. I forgot about Don't Break My Heart. That was our first single.
Yeah, that one is more, it's almost, I mean, the other one's a more bigger production. That feels like with that one, was it easier to shoot, or?
Yeah, I think it was just like in a day in a studio. I don't remember it that well, to be honest. I don't think it wasn't that big a deal. Maybe they thought, oh, well, we'll see what's going to happen. And they didn't put that much money in that one. I can't quite remember, to be honest. But yeah, Heaven and Cry Myself were much bigger productions.
That's brilliant. So with the first album, where was the first album recorded?
It was recorded between Battery Studios, which was the studios that Jive had in Willesden Green. They were really fantastic studios in Willesden Green, and we did half of it there, and the rest of it we recorded at Mutt Lange's house, which was incredible, as you can probably imagine. In hindsight, we're a bit like, bloody hell, we went and lived with Mutt Lange. I mean, people can't quite believe we even knew him. And then the songs that John Parr did, we recorded with John Parr. So we were kind of here, there, and everywhere. It didn't take that long, actually. I think it took about maybe 3 or 4 months in full to record the whole album.
Yeah. Well, John Parr,
which in those days was not very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with John Parr, wasn't John Parr like another 80s artist? He was, wasn't he?
He certainly was. St. Elmo's Fire. Yes, yeah. John Parr was like a huge, well, he still is actually. Yeah, John Parr did incredibly well. But he had a huge hit in a film called St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Very
so
cool.
He's a great mate. Yeah, he recorded 2 of the tracks he produced 2 of the tracks on the first album as well.
Brilliant. And then with your second album as well, with both of the albums, are there any like standout memories you maybe have from the 2 sessions, or?
Well, it's a tricky one really, because we're going back a really long time, and it was all so new to us. I think everything was a standout moment. I remember when a really not very nice thing for me was they used to have these huge Neve desks, like in the old days, like these incredible desks, and I spilt a glass of orange juice over it, which wasn't great. That wasn't great. That was not a very good standout moment for me. I'm still very clumsy. But listen, all of it was just kind of, when you think back, hindsight's such a bitch. You think, God, why didn't I realize how fantastic that was, or what an amazing opportunity. When you're in the moment and you're in your early 20s, you just, it's like you just go and you do it, and we were told where to go, what to do, and we kind of just did it. And we were so ignorant, really, and wet behind the ears about the whole industry. We just kind of thought that maybe everything was like that, and maybe not realizing that it was a very special thing that we were experiencing. Firstly, working with Mutt, who is still this kind of godlike producer that worked with so many incredible bands, and he deemed to work with us, which in itself was just wonderful. And we learned so much from him, and subsequently song-wise and how we do harmonies, and we've kind of took all of that from our experience working with Mutt on the first album. And that was pretty amazing. Second album, not so much. We changed labels. It was we were a bit disillusioned. We'd had to wait for a couple of years because Mutt said he was going to produce the whole of the second album, and then he changed his mind, and so we had wasted about 3 years waiting for that. So we were really on the back foot recording the second album, Delectable. I think there's some really great songs on Delectable, but none of us are happy with the production. And really we would love to, if we had the time and the energy, to go back and record some of those songs, but we won't, because you have to move forward. You've got to keep on moving forward, you know. And since then we've recorded 3 albums since we reformed in 2009, because we broke up in 1994, I think it was.
So with Delectable, would you see yourself as a band maybe remastering it, maybe, possibly? Or...
We could, if as I said, if we kind of had the time and inclination. I think that it's kind of, we've always been a forward-thinking band, and we, you know, like, we've just got a new album out called Slipstream, which is done the best of all our albums, to be honest. It's done incredibly well, and you know, we want to be relevant now. We want to bring out music that's relevant to us now. And I think to go back to Delectable might be a bit like, I don't know, a waste of time, I think, to be honest.
Well, that's totally fair enough. So when you guys reformed, what kind of gave that kick to reform as a band? What made you suddenly think, oh, why don't we reform Romeo's Daughter again? What kind of
we were asked to for Firefest, which was this amazing festival that was held in Nottingham. I think Kieran, God, I can't think of Kieran's surname at the moment. It's just gone from my head. Kieran and a group of people started this festival called Firefest, and the main point of Firefest was actually they loved the 80s bands, rock bands, and it wasn't about bringing on bands that were around in 2009 that were just, it was about bringing back the bands from that time, and it was like a big nostalgia fest. And he had asked us to do it in 2007, I think, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. And then he asked me again to see whether it was something that was viable. He was a big fan of the bands, and to be honest, we were a bit like, because we finished in 1994, whenever it was, 1994, 1995, there was no social media or Facebook or anything then, so we just kind of ended it, and that we thought that was it. Really, we had no way of keeping in touch with anybody about anything. We didn't know what people felt about us. It was kind of a weird thing. It was just like over, really, and we all went on to do different things and carry on with our lives. And so when he asked us in 2009, we were a bit like, God, I mean, who's even going to know who we are? Is anybody going to care who we are? But he was very insistent. And so I got in touch with the previous band members, and we all went, well, great, well, why not? Let's see if it's going to work or not. Let's do it. And we did, and we went, and we literally, it was like the most extraordinary thing. Like we brought the house down. We had no idea that people remembered us at all. It was really an amazing experience. And people had flown from Europe to come and see us. They were like, people, there was so much love for us, and we were like, bloody hell. Obviously, we only had 2 albums out to play. We only had the first album and Delectable at that point. So we had a very short set, but it went down great. And from that point, we thought, wow, let's see if there's any legs left in this. And so from 2009, we got together a lot. And then I think Rapture, our first album, came out in 2000. Still took us a while. I think 2012, we released Rapture. 2015, we released Spin. And this last year, we released Slipstream. So it still takes us many years to get them done. But that's not bad for us. 3 albums in 15 years. That's quite a lot for us.
Well, yeah. I have listened to all of the new albums, and they do sound fantastic. So,
thank you.
Sounds great.
Thanks very much.
Do you have a favourite song from the Romeo's Daughter catalogue, and is there a favourite song you like playing live?
Well, I think for me, "Cry Myself to Sleep" is always going to be one of our favourite songs, and it's just such a beautiful ballad, and I think live it's powerful, and it means a lot of people. It means a lot to a lot of people, "Cry Myself." But I mean, personally, there's a song. I mean, listen, I love a lot of the songs. It's hard to pick, but personally, there's a song on Spin that I really, was it on Spin or was it on Rapture? See, I should know this. It's called Radio. I think it was on Spin, and I really love Radio. And I don't know why I do, but for me, it's that song on that album. We play it live as well. But you know, I love the ballads. I love them all really. You know, I don't. We play the songs that we really love to perform, and so it's really hard to pick one,
I guess as a
especially now
band,
because we've got like yeah.
yeah, I'm just saying, I guess as a band with the catalogue you have, it's finding songs like, for example, you could pick four of the first album, you could pick another
Yes.
from the second album. Like there's a few
Yeah.
you can pick, and then obviously playing the new ones for you guys to experiment. There's a lot of ways you can do it, I guess. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have now got a great choice when we go out live. Our set now is like an hour and a half, and we could add to that, but it would absolutely kill me. We had much more to that. And we have a lovely, we go, oh, what should we do? You know, sometimes we drop some songs, we add some new songs. When we go out, when we went out last September, and we've just been doing some gigs now, we actually have added 3 tracks from Slipstream, which is quite a lot. When you're playing live, to add 3 songs from your new album, because obviously there's a chance that people don't know them, but they've been going down so well. And there's a song called Over You, a song called Inseparable, and a song called Fake, and they're all really up and they're quite heavy, and I think they've added a really nice dimension to the live set.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's
Yeah.
really cool. So with the album Slipstream, like where was that recorded? The new
That was all
album.
recorded at Craig's studio. Craig's got a fantastic studio. He recorded the guitar and the main tracks. I went up. I worked with him on all the vocals, did all the vocals. Andy came, did all the drums. So we do everything now. It's a completely we have a cottage industry. We do everything ourselves. We don't have a record label, which is such a relief, because everything we do we have control of. So we do all the recording, all the artwork, we press the CDs. We do have a label, funnily enough, that does the vinyl in America, because they wanted to do some vinyl. So we have vinyl coming out on Slipstream this month, end of this month, and they did Rapture as well. But everything else, we have the most fantastic manager called Juliet, and we just do everything ourselves, and it works so much better for us. I mean, obviously, we're not getting out to like hundreds of thousands of people that maybe you could do if you're on a label, but labels are very funny things now. They're all being bought out by the huge companies. The smaller rock labels are not particularly interested in us for whatever reason. But that's fine, because as I said, we have control over everything. We do everything ourselves. It works really well. Nobody would know. And we make everything back from it that we sell, which then goes back into the company to be able to enable us to hire a tour, to splitter vans and hotels. And so it's kind of this little business that we have running, which actually works really well.
Yeah, I think with these days with Facebook and socials, it helps try and get your business out there. It helps you promote tours, and you guys have been on tour with FM, I believe, right?
Well, we just did it. We just opened for them. We just did there was kind of a nostalgia thing we did last Saturday, because we were coming back from Llandudno, and we opened for them, and we haven't done that for a very, very long time. But yeah, it was just one gig. It's just the one gig. We headline our own gigs now, so we don't really have to do that anymore.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, FM are a great band as well. They're very cool.
Oh, they're fantastic. And to be honest, it was a really great evening, because a lot of people saw us for the first time when we opened for FM in 1989. That was our first tour. So it was kind of full circle, and it meant a lot to people to see both bands on together, so it was a fabulous evening. Don't get me wrong, FM are absolutely wonderful, and we love them. But yeah, when we only, that was just a one-off, that gig.
No, it's fair enough. Did you just
Yeah.
came back from Germany, didn't you?
We did, yeah,
Yeah.
we did a really interesting gig in Germany a couple of weekends ago, just outside of Frankfurt, which was interesting. That was great. And we're off to Sweden for the Malmo Festival in July, which we're really looking forward to.
That's fantastic.
We've
Really,
never
really
played in
good stuff.
Sweden, so we're really, yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Is there anywhere else you would like to play at all? Is there anywhere anywhere you haven't played yet that you would like to
Yeah,
play?
well, I mean, we'd love to. Yeah, I mean, we'd love to play in the States, but that's kind of quite hard to sort out. And touring now is just a very, very expensive thing to do
Of
unless you
course.
have a sponsor. Somebody's working on that for us at the moment in America. Yeah, I mean, we had some great gigs in Spain. It would be lovely to go back to Spain and Portugal, but listen, with Brexit, it's completely messed up.
Oh,
It's
I can
messed
agree
so
with you
much
there,
up.
definitely.
And not only has it messed up sales, everybody now has got you can't even just send a CD without somebody paying customs on it at the other side. It's like, it's just awful. But the gigging side of it, you can't take merch, you have to do it's just a nightmare. And it's very, very expensive. And so you have to kind of be sure that that you're going to an audience that enough of an audience, really. So we're just going to see. Listen, we're chill. We see what comes in. We make decisions. It's really important that we play in the UK as much as we can. We got a little tour at the end of September, in the middle of September. We're actually starting this new thing where we're doing half acoustic, where we play half of our set acoustic. We did our first gig in Llandudno on Friday, and it was just so lovely. People really, really loved it. They really like to hear our songs really paired back. But it's the whole band doing it. It's not just Craig and me, it's the drums as well, and acoustic bass. So we're hoping to get more of those gigs booked in. And, we'll just see what comes along.
That's fantastic. Do you know the dates yet? I might try and see if I can come down myself.
Yeah, the dates for which would
Just the UK shows.
yeah, the UK shows are all up north, but we are planning, we're doing a London one that's going to be coming in soon. I'm not sure. All the info will be on Facebook
Yeah, of course.
when we
No worries.
decide. Yeah, I think it's going to be in November. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm London based myself, so
Oh, great.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah, we'll let you know.
yeah, of course, of course. So, would you say there'll be another album in the works, maybe for Romeo's Daughter anytime soon? Or
I'm very much hoping so. It's hard to know. Craig is, busy guy, and um, we have to kind of have momentum, some kind of momentum, and we love it so much. But I would love, yeah, of course, I would love there to be another album. I'm not sure when and where. It's very time consuming just making one, just because, we want it to be the best that it can possibly be. And so you have to make sure that they're the best songs and the best vocals, and it takes quite a long time. But yeah, I mean, listen, never say never. I'm hoping there will be another Romeo's Daughter album.
that's fantastic. One more question for you, Leigh, and
Yeah.
then I can let you go. So,
Okay.
with your fans, is there anything you want to say to your fans at all over the years, or anyone that may be watching this? Or
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't have our wonderful fans. And a lot of the time when you go to gigs, you look out and these are people that we've kind of grown up with. It's quite incredible, you get to know some more than others, and it's really so lovely to see them. And there's no point in we could be the best band in the world, but if people don't love you, then what's the point in doing it? And we are exceptionally blessed with the most wonderful fans who've supported us since 1989. And that's quite a feat, I think. And we never take it for granted, ever. And we just would like more of them. That's the tricky thing, is getting out to more people. But yeah, listen, our fans are fantastic and they know how much we love them. because I tell them a lot.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Right, well, I've been Jamie from the Metal Axe podcast. Thank you very much for those who are watching. If you can follow me on YouTube, that would very much, and give this video a like and subscribe, would be very much appreciated. With Leigh's band Romeo's Daughter, you can find them on Facebook. YouTube channel, I believe you guys have got YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube channel, Instagram, we're on. Yeah, we're on all of them.
Follow them all there. If you haven't already heard them, I would highly recommend their first album. And also, obviously, I'm sure Leigh will agree, listen to their latest album, Slipstream, and purchase it on the website or Amazon.
Yeah, you can purchase everything's on our website, romeosdaughter.co.uk.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time,
Brilliant.
Leigh.
Thanks so much, Jamie. Nice to see you.